Beautiful brothers, beautiful brothers. I am Giaya Ariati, and I am of sound heart and sound mind. I am the assigned oracle for the 144 and beyond, and I am specifically here to talk about an epic upcoming. If you have not received any of my transmissions before, I am an oracle, a conduit. I am a quantum healer. I am a previous men's coach, empowerment coach, life coach, makeup artist, beautician, and I worked in the fashion industry and did social media marketing for a while. So there's a couple of interesting pieces you may or may not have known about me. But I am here as a speaker of truth. It is my mission and directive to activate the remembrance of who you truly are, and to provide a window or a energetic vibration and activation through your cellular memory, through your heart, through your mind, by merging spirit and mind or matter together. So to bridge the gap between our human reality and those higher realms. I'm super excited for this transmission. It is an energy reading, so although there is a bit of a offering that is in the write-up of this around Men on Purpose, which is a 3-month initiation. What's the words? A 3-month initiation mentorship program that starts on July 30th at 6 p.m. Phuket time, which is the best time zone I could find for all of you beautiful, amazing masculines around the world. And this is for heart-led leaders that are here for unfuckable purpose and to bring in the new earth. So it is my role as an oracle and a high priestess to assist with the initiations, the energetic frequencies, the DNA upgrades, and providing a pillar of light to allow for visionary skills, geometric light work technologies to come online, different we could say the magician archetypal energies, the priest archetypal energies, the aspect of the warrior or the Viking. There are many different energies that will be activated, moved through, and understood in different layers and different dimensions, because I am a individual being that will try my absolute best to communicate everything through all layers of consciousness. And so this specific energy reading is not about that, but if you are resonating to this is for man and woman, but it is targeted at the men's quantum leap. Oh, so exciting. And literally, it took me, I was sitting here for maybe 40 minutes toning and bringing in codes before I could even press live. And I was like, are we ever going to get through this? Because by the time we get through it, I might not even have any brain power to deliver whatever you're asking me to deliver. So as an oracle, as a conduit, I receive energetic information, prophetic visions, timeline shifts, and information in the forefront of the future. We are sovereign beings. We can change this at any point in time. And sometimes there has been some incongruencies with my timelines in which I absolutely take ownership of. It was a process of me moving through my own separation points, because some of the prophetic visions that have been, if you've listened to any of those around the tipping point, and there will be a tipping point video in the upcoming week, which is really exciting, because all of those prophetic visions are landing into the holistic picture, so I can actually give you an full accurate forecast of what's taking place. But without further ado, I'm not sure if that's even the right accurate word. If you haven't met me before, I'm a bit I can be quite quirky. I can be very serious. I can be very zen. I can be all the things as a divine feminine in this reality. And so I do not make out that I am a specific expression, because I am all expressions of that, of my unique personality and my human, and then also in the gifts and in the abilities that I have. And it's very important for us to be able to claim our human as much as we claim the wisdom of the infinite intelligence of the source connection that we hold within. So, whilst you are receiving this, so you can receive all of it in your body and in the remembrance of your heart, so that you can discern the truth that is here for you, we're going to take 3 deep breaths together. So, taking a deep breath in and out, in and out, in and out. All right. So, the most exciting thing about this transmission is that the men are about to go through a collective quantum leap. Now, this is really different to the feminine or the woman of our collective. And I'm going to say the collective of the bringers of change, or the 144, the specific individuals that are here for spirituality, for consciousness, for personal development, for remembrance, for awakening. And because we do have different collective consciousnesses that make up the whole of the human consciousness on this earth. And so when I speak of the collective consciousness, most of the time I'm just speaking of those individual beings that know they're here for a specific purpose. They're the seekers, they're looking for truth, and they're driven in ways of bettering themselves and bettering the world. And so, with this, we have had in this lifetime predominantly, and the generation before us, for quite some time in the 1900s, the rise of the feminine, right? So there's been a shift energetically, and there's been this transition point into the rise of the feminine over the last 120 years, 130 years, and there's been a transition. Now, this has been beautiful and also destructive. You've got the challenges with the mutations of feminism, and then you have the emasculation of man, and also the demonization of man. So before this point, men were idolized, and the patriarchy was in control, and then there's been this shift. And so what that's led us up to at this point in time is that woman, and I'm not saying this in anything other than truth, just the way that society has conditioned us at this point in time on the earth, is that the woman of the bringers of change and society are a little more advanced in their consciousness or healing journey, we can say, self-realization. This is not a one size fits all, nothing is, but as a majority, most women are a little more advanced, and it's also causes a lot of comparison and blame and pointing the finger, and this whole idea that women are leading the men. Don't agree with that. I don't actually like any of these statements about the divine feminine doing this and the divine masculine doing that. It's all a story that feeds one's ego to not see themselves in truth, and to continue to point the finger in separation and not claim your own role as man or woman, and how you can support each other to come through in more unity together, because we are not the same. We are not balanced. It does not matter biology. You cannot change biology at this point in time. And so what is taking place is that women, based on this collective point in time, have come to a further point of evolution. Now, this has been based on that, you go to a spiritual group, there's a lot more support groups, there's a lot more structures for women based on, we could just say, domestic violence, and different aspects of support networks. There's more support for women. That is just how we currently sit within our dynamic. And so because there's been more support for women to be empowered, to heal, to have a possibility beyond where they're at, they have been able able to go through their healing journey a little more, because men have been shunned and pushed to the side and don't have the support networks. And when they have reached out for support, and I've had, if you don't know my journey, I started as a men's coach, and I remember one time I was Googling to try and find a support group on Facebook for men that have experienced domestic violence at the hands of women. Now, that is far more common than what society would like to say, and there is so much shame and guilt in a man's mind that he would let a woman beat him up, so it doesn't get talked about, right? It's very disappointing that we have hidden these aspects, and that vulnerability and authenticity and the truth is not being exposed and brought to this reality. But so in this search to find some kind of support network for the men that I was coaching at the time, I was just brokenhearted. I went to a point of searching it up, and all I could find was group after group after group of uh, violence against women at the hands of men. And I couldn't find anything. And I asked out, and I did quite a bit of research, and there was a couple of organizations, but there really wasn't the support network that men needed. And I actually used my TikTok channel to start to share little insights at the time. So I have a 40,000 followers on my TikTok that was from when I was doing this for men. And as soon as I started talking about consciousness, individuals stopped following my work, which was interesting. But if you are interested in hearing some of my earlier conversations around men at a very human lens of masculine, feminine, and different belief systems and traumas and different things that take place, and the confusion of that, definitely go check out some of my shorts and see how much I've grown as an individual, because that may inspire you also. But in that, because of this, men do not have support. So, what has taken place is women have had support, and they've gone on more healing. Now, from a multidimensional layer of possibility, this is awesome now. Not so much back then, because we all know that the suicidal rate and the depression rate for men is far higher than women, and these these this challenge with just a second, I'm just going to anchor. I'm just feeling a lot of energy in the space. Beautiful. So because of this, women have created a lot of consciousness synapses or light pathways where there has been healing of whether it's the masculine or it's the feminine wound. It doesn't matter, because we, in energetics, there is no, it's only the male body and the female body and the biology that makes things different. When it comes to energetics, we have unified essences and unique expressions of God Source Creator. But we came here in this human experience to have a male dominant experience or a female dominant experience. And there are things about this reality that are just truth, and you cannot, objective truth that you cannot change. And so with that, these synapses pathways have been created by the support of extra woman being able to lead the way. Now, that doesn't mean that men haven't also been leading the way simultaneously in other ways. And how I can express that is probably from a very different lens that you may have not thought of before, but based on men being very autonomous, self reliant. A lot of the men that I know of that are in this process of personal development, they don't, some of them reach out for business coaches and different mentors, but they do a lot of the work on their own. They read a lot, they have a lot of podcasts, they do a lot of self reflection, they do a lot of self shadow work. It's very rare that they reach out for support until a certain point on their journey where they realize that they actually need support to evolve beyond the point that they have come to through the mirror of another. And that's where there is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful uh, transitioning, because men have really come to a point where they've done so much work on their own that what they've done by doing this, there's a lot of dark night of the soul, a lot of the dark descent, the dark tunnel. If you don't know these terminologies, this is when a man goes through his awakening process and it feels like he's in a tunnel of darkness and he reevaluates his entire self and being. And he withdraws a lot from the world. And it's not until he gets out of the tunnel that he starts to see beyond that of his conditioned mind. But what that means is a very dense, quite a long time. There's a period of dissension that takes place on a consistent level of descending into the subconscious mind and moving through some challenges there. And so what's happened is they've done a lot of clearing. So the men of the collective had done so much clearing, like so much clearing and so much work that is not recognized, not being seen, not being acknowledged, because you can't see it unless you are able to actually feel it, communicate, witness someone, see through the eyes of truth. And it's also the challenge with this is that women have been alchemizing from, say, a higher frequency and a higher state of, we'll say, ascension, that they're bringing in these higher frequencies. So we could say women are being a little bit more of the activator and men are being the anchorer. And we're not going to categorize that as a totality, but as a whole, this is kind of the roles that we're playing. And so a lot of men um, are one, requiring the activations, these higher frequencies. So as an oracle, this is a part of what I do a lot of work for. Men go through an initiation journey very differently to women. And what happens in this is so beautiful because of all of the clearing. So if you think about, you clear so much space from your psyche, you open so much space for when that activation is ready, when those higher frequencies are coming online, that you're going to quantum leap, right? So what I see is with the people that I work with, and what I see in a totality of incomplete healing cycles and modalities, because the majority of them are, is that if you look at a trauma as a circle, or you look at a pattern, or you look at an identity and it's a circle, right? We've all, whoever's been going on their journey here, dabbling here, doing this here, understanding a few beliefs here, but they've missed some somatics. They didn't know that there was a past life connection over here, right? So there's these circles where they're like, okay, I've looked at the mind part, I've felt a little bit of the somatics, and then I've stopped. Because in my current reality, then it stops triggering me. I don't even notice. So I can just put it back there and we can compartmentalize it until it surfaces and triggers again. And then we might do a little bit more of the circle and we might get to the bottom point. So if you think of the circle as the start point being at the top, and then you get to the bottom, that's the dissension. So that's the core trigger, the core wound, the core creation, the core narrative creation that creates this pattern or this repeat distortion of reality. It could be a matrix construct, it could be about relationship, it could be a complete identity, it could be a wound. You get to the bottom, and then people usually stop there, right? Because we're like, thank God, there's space, there's relief inside my body. And so you feel like that you're complete in that point in time. But what happens is we forget to bring back all of the shit that we gave up, that we got rid of, the ascension aspect. So you've got the dissension, ascension. And so we don't call back our worthiness. We might clear our mother wound, but we forgot that we are worthy of love. We forgot that we left half of our heart with our ex-girlfriend from 4 years ago, and we haven't actually returned those soul fragments. We don't realize that aspects of our energy field are scattered scattered throughout time and space that need to be returned through abilities, gifts, light technologies, just plain intention, to bring this into a holistic closing. And then once you complete both descension, ascension, and if this is something that interests you, I do have a process called the DAC process that does this. And it's how I assist individuals to be able to do this on their own rather than being in a mentorship program with me. They've got a framework that they can do this and make sure they complete things so they don't have to keep being triggered by their environment. Then they collapse and they're non-existent. You can't pick it up anymore. It's like, whoa, where did that thing go? Wow, I feel so different. I just feel completely different. Now, so why I'm telling you this is because men have done all these descension circles. So maybe it's the mother wound and they've descended here. And maybe it's the story of who I am as a man in this reality. And I've deconditioned myself all the way down to here. And maybe it's about my relationship ideas and divine union or control structures. Maybe it's about business. Maybe it's about purpose. Maybe it's about finances, right? There's all of these different themes, identities, wounds, or information that has been descended and it's been looked at in belief systems, values, and understanding, because men are super self-reflective. Holy moly, that's what they do. They're in their mind, right? Because that's how they've been conditioned. So men are always seeing things and self-reflecting and making sense of the world. So they descend really easy. So the descension piece has happened for the masculine, but they haven't ascended. So that means there's a lot of space of the density. And in this, so what's happening now in the next couple of months, and moving forward from that, is an opening and an opportunity for a mass influx of frequency. So the current energies, I'm sure everyone's very aware of the current energies. There is so much frequency being pummeled at the earth. There is so many solar flares. There's so much restructuring of the earth grids. There's so many people going through transcendence and embodying and starting to come into attainment of Christos. And that is not a story. I'm seeing that in my eyes. I have witnessed that. Over multiple beings in the last few weeks, and I've moved through a level of transcendence of ego construct myself, and so I know what these layers of samadhi look like because I've been through them, and it's amazing to witness. So it's not a story; it's actually truth. The problem is that people can't see it until they are it, and that's the trick about consciousness. You can't see me until you are at the same point as me, which is where we just love each other unconditionally for where we are at our journey. But because of all of this frequency that's coming through, whether or not a masculine has a feminine in their life to bring through this influx of frequency, the women at the moment, their role is that they're currently pulling in as pillars of light all around the world by doing their activations, their meditations, their sister circles, their dance, their whatever it is that women are currently doing to support their devotional practice. They're doing it anyway. So whether or not you have a divine feminine directly in your space, there is an opportunity to anchor in or receive from that collective influx of frequency. If you have a physical human woman that can assist you with this, you may find that with that space, that you can go through such a quantum leap by allowing her to bring through that spirit expression, because that is the difference around man and woman. Is women are here to be the frequency of source and to illuminate that, and to allow for so much source frequency to move through them that it's felt, it's gifted through touch or through communication, through song, through that being of an instrument in that way. Men are an instrument in different way. Their channels are created in different ways. They're wired in different ways. Men take information from outside the world, so they see the world world, and they look at the world and they actually draw that energy in. It gets interpreted by the brain, interpreted by what is here within the masculine's experience, and then it gets projected back out as a tangible consciousness stream. So that's why men are the speakers of the word. That is why men can receive, interpret, and then send it out in visionary inventors. And majority of men are programmed and function this way, whereas women are they feel, you know, they receive source inwardly, and they make sense of that from their inward experience, and then they illuminate it and give it out. They're the lovers, they're the carers, that is just the way we are currently wired. It's why we actually love this about ourselves. Men love being men and women love being women, if we got out of all of the stories in between. And so in that, this shift from the separation point is really beautiful, because women are choosing to rise beyond the patriarchal constructs, and they're not actually dropping back. So what they would do, a lot of women, is they would rise and they would drop down, and they would rise and they would drop down, which is enabling men and not allowing men to actually rise themselves. Because if you make sense of this, not from a place anything other than energetics, with what I just said, is if a woman is illuminating love, illuminating source, right? She cultivates it from her insides and she gives it out. And she is that expression. Then when she stops giving it out and she focuses on her source mission and to be love rather than to give love, um, uh, then she is able to be in connection to her source directive, and I wouldn't say she hones it in, like she doesn't take it back, but she does effectively stop leaking it out all over, like self-abandoning herself, or the codependency or the smothering or all of those different pieces. So she is being love, and so the energy shifts. And so where the man has been effectively receiving spirit or source or divine feminine energy from woman around him, no matter whether it's his mum, his sisters, his partners, his friends, whatever that female validation has been, that's shifting out. She's like, actually, I'm not going to validate your wounding. I'm not going to do that anymore, and I'm not going to lower my vibrational frequency anymore, and I'm going to actually choose. And this is not judgment, this is just different. I can see from both lenses. I'm not going to choose men that can't meet me. I'm not going to choose to keep delaying myself on my purpose. I'm not going to keep doing distraction in love. I'm going to stay focused on myself and make sure that I'm meeting myself in love and why I came here to the planet. And by doing that, men go into this place of recognizing that they actually want to rise, because they don't want to be smothered. They don't want to have this validation from women. They want to be empowered. They want to create. They want to stand in their unfuckable conviction of what they're here for. They don't want to create these dynamics of needing women for sex or for confidence, or to smooth out insecurities, to fill time. Right, that's another one. Is that you might be there's a lot of men that have these really strong entrepreneurial mindsets, and they do this really, really powerful work, but they have not cultivated or worked through their mother wounding or their female wounding. And so as soon as they stop in their really strong masculine way of being, where there's this confidence, and it's true, it's not a mask. So anyone who says that these men have masks in that way, they don't. They're genuinely confident. They genuinely know what they have to offer the world. But as soon as they're out of their work mode, they're a different person because that's completely uncultivated. And so they'll look for attention in women or relationships or distraction or alcohol or weed or heroin. So they're all the mother drugs. And these fill men because they aren't yet cultivating their own female spirit connection. So as the women rise and pull back their female spirit connection to themselves so that they can anchor and hold themselves and be stable, the simultaneous effect is, holy fuck, there's so much space because this woman took all this energy that she was giving me that I didn't even realize she was giving me away, and now I have space to rise into myself, into my own source directive, into my own intuitive guidance, into my own unified expression. And so it's not one before the other, right? It's really, we're doing it simultaneously. It just appears to be that way because of the way that it's taking place. And so this quantum leap for men is exciting for women. Now, women, don't fuck it up. Like, really, let them do their thing and stay focused on your thing, because that's how women are like, oh, there's not enough conscious spiritual men in this in so, sorry, I love you guys. I do love women, but I also don't like victimization and blame, and there needs to be an accountability, ownership, and if you really want to make change on yourself or others, you need to do this. Is this story that there aren't enough good men, there are not enough conscious men, these just so distorted, when if you really look at yourself and take accountability and ownership for your relationship dynamics, who you're attracting into your life, it's not them, it's you. Always, every time. Anytime you want to poke your finger out, it's you. So why are you attracting feminine men? Why are you attracting men that are needing you to validate them, to pay for them, to be their mum? That's your stuff. That's not his. And so this this shift is super beautiful, and I'm very excited for it. And it's going to happen there's going to be a big quantum leap for the masculine over the 8-8 and 9-9 portals. So the next 2 months specifically, those men that are choosing, because it's choice always, to rise in their masculine and to stay in and on purpose. So and this is a part of soul connection. So there's a lot of men that are really hurting because they don't know their purpose as to why they're here, right? And the purpose of why each and every human being, not just man, but woman as well, you cannot find your purpose, or shall I say, remember it, until your heart has activated, cleared, and purified and stayed open. So the heart is the key to remembering your purpose. If you move through the full alchemy and come into the crystalline heart, you'll find that your purpose starts to be seen, known, and embodied very quickly. Very, very, very quickly. But it's not knowing how to connect with the heart and not knowing how to move through the distortions of the heart that keep us from having purpose with life, because we can't feel and we can't connect to our 0 point of our being with source. And so the heart space for a woman is their third initiate phase. So that's, they go through their crown chakra, they go through their solar plexus, and then they go into the heart. Now, for men, they go through it differently. They go into their crown, their third eye, their root, and then their heart. So it's their fourth initiate phase. So men are programmed and currently energetically wired not to remember their purpose until later in their initiation journey or their hero's journey, and to move through and make sense of that. And so this when this heart, this sacred heart opens, and this connection to that essence of source is realized, and you can stay in open heartedness, then you can start being the heart led leader of the masculine that you are. And you go into the next phase of initiation, which is the sacral chakra. And that's where you have heart and power. So we don't repeat, because we're not bringing in a new earth if we repeat the same in the last 42,000 years of distortions. Is that the new earth has to be created from a place of not just mind heart coherence, but mind heart gut, the entire channel coherence, but from this place of love is power and power is love. They're not separate, they're the same. And when that happens, then you know that once the heart is there and you start going into the power center, your purpose, your contribution, your ability to be basically unfuckable with who you are, how you are, your emotional stability, the anger and the rage that sits suppressed, the lack of confidence, the not speaking your truth, the insecurity, the mutations between women. Once that sacral chakra is cleared, there's very few distortions with the feminine, which is like so powerful, and you can have really loving, beautiful relationships. And this transition is going to happen a lot more rapidly than, say, what the women have gone through these initiations with, because of the quantum leap. So be prepared for that, because your heart, if you're choosing this from sovereign free will and choice, and this is really aligned with your sacred heart on the inner point of your source essence, is your heart could just explode open. It really could. It could explode open into a full purification process where you feel so much love for yourself and for humanity and for everyone around you that you don't even know who you were as a man before that, which is a lot, and it's uncomfortable. So whether you went slow, whether you're a woman and you've been slowly going step by step, or you're a man that's sort of been withdrawn and you've done a lot of work and you're about to quantum leap, and like really quantum leap, it happens very fast and very quickly that there is a requirement to be gentle and stabilizing on the body and the nervous system, and to ensure that um, you're supported in your belief systems and have compassion for yourself. Because holding a lot of frequency in your body is not comfortable. It's really not comfortable. And when you're not used to feeling, because you're not, and you have been conditioned to stay up in your upper chakras and in your mind, when you're not used to feeling, that can be a little bit terrifying. And having large amounts of heart opening, and then having your sacral chakra activated, and you have a huge amount of heat and sexual energy come online as well. Most people want to be like, this is a lot, I can't sleep, I need to get it out of me. But it's around learning to anchor it. So just being very, very gentle in these coming times and what is about to move through. And um, uh, what else is there? Is there anything else? I don't know if there is. I feel like I've sort of covered everything. It was definitely not the transmission that I was expecting, but I need to stop expecting anything. If you've got any questions, please drop them. If you've got any questions, please drop them in the comments section below around masculinity, femininity, around this shift in consciousness. I'm just going to wait a little bit, scrolling up to see if there's anything here. Beautiful, lots of lovely comments. Yeah. Unless there is some specific questions that you would like answered, now is the time, because I will use this as a moment in time to acknowledge that I love each and every one of you so deeply. I truly see you. because I have come to know thyself in totality, in wholeness, in the I am. And so I see you, I feel you, I truly, genuinely, with all of my heart, love you. But I also do not have time to communicate in conversations. I don't have time to get back to everyone's emails, where there's such beautiful emails sometimes come through, and I don't have the time or the energy to put there. I have a very clear directive. I meet my directives in a moment to moment basis, and I prioritize my energy in the highest good for humanity and for the overall evolutionary consciousness shift. And so if I ever don't respond to you, please know that you are loved and you are received. Um, but this is the time. If you want to know something, it's getting on a live and placing a question here, um, uh, because that is the best way that I can support you. I am also having a network or a community framework built up online, and there will be courses, there will be daily lessons of consciousness. There will also be one of the things that I'm really excited to start creating is a pre and post medicine ceremony integration. Preparation course, because I see too many people go through medicine journeys, meet high levels of consciousness, don't understand what they've experienced, get a little lost in the influx of frequency, and there is very little support from a level of multidimensionality of what has taken place. So that will be one of the beautiful offerings that comes on there. If you are interested in doing the men's container, which is Men on Purpose, starting on July 30th at 6 p.m. Phuket, Bangkok time, please send me an email to giaya.ariati@gmail.com, and I can send you the information. There is some pre-initiation transmissions. So there's 3 transmissions that need to be done in energetic preparation for the container. It is a very high-level container. It's actually far more high-level than my human brain had perceived. And there is a necessity to have moved through and almost completely alchemized the heart space. So it's like going into heart and power, man on purpose, right? So men on purpose is about working through the finalization of the heart chakra, releasing any of those feminine wounds, the inner child aspects, completely closing those out. They are no more after this, and coming into that conviction of purpose, remembrance, and getting a unfuckable vision and knowing of who you are, so you can stand in these coming times unshakable as the anchors and the truth speakers that you are. All right. I love you so deeply. No questions. Oh, yeah. Is the total shift after the 42,000 years coming soon? Yeah. I have been through a super big 2-week initiation myself. So that's why, I haven't been on here, and I have been a little quieter and not as, I'm going to say not as vibrant, um, in the preparation to share what's happening over the next 2 to 3 months, because there is a lot taking place, and there's some important pieces, important dates, and some important awarenesses in relation to the collective shift and what to expect. You will know of that. If you don't subscribe to my channel, please like, subscribe, and share this to anyone that you may find will receive beautiful what I was going to say influence, beautiful contributions energetically from this transmission through all layers of time, space, dimension, in remembrance and love from my heart. But yeah, I will do a post. It will be on here. Just stay tuned. If you would like to be on my email list, you can email me, or I can't I don't know if I can see these after I press off, but you can put your email in here and I can add you to my email list, and then that way you get information as well. Miari atatakari atakendi anai. Okay. I'm not going to talk about any microchips at the moment or any infiltration, other than there is a microchip for everything. And they all have different purposes, different reasons. They're all anti consciousness mechanisms. The only thing you really need to know is when you find infiltration, demonic activity, satanic activity, any siphoning, any parasitic energies, anything that exists in your field, you have a point of unconsciousness that allowed it in. So if you can find your point that allowed for that to come into your field, it will be alchemized out. You don't necessarily have to work on the chip specifically, just on what allowed the chip to be there. So if you look at what's beyond the chip and why it's there, and you really work at the core of it, even if you don't have quantum tools or the same ability to demolecularize and take away different particles of using light technology and different processes, your body will purge it. So if you can get to the core, you might get sick afterwards, but you can also make a declaration, please, can I purge this with ease and grace? It's all that we have is based here on our beliefs as to why we let them in here. We are sovereign beings. As soon as we claim back our sovereignty and we look at why we allowed something there, it dissolves. How do you sign up for the 8-8 gathering? So the 8-8 gathering, I have 108 places only, and it is set up for a time. It is set up to Japan, Tokyo time for 8 p.m. at 8:08 p.m. Based on the grid lines, based on energetic signatures and the different quantum geometrics that are being brought into the earth at that time, very specifically around numbers and geometry. I'm not holding spaces for anyone, so it's sort of first in, best dressed. To be a part of that, you can go to my link tree. My link tree has a donation PayPal link. It's a donation to receive your Zoom invite link, and it's not going to be recorded, so there's no replay. It is a very special event, and it will be very transcendental, I assure you. And that if you're feeling the full body yes to that, then you'll need to email me, because PayPal doesn't give me your email, so I can't send you anything. You'll have to email me your PayPal receipt donation, and then I can send you the Zoom link and put you on the guest list. All of this will be changing, so things will be very structured soon. I have a beautiful PA, Ame. I love you, Ame. Beautiful goddess sister that has returned, soul group, soul family, reuniting everywhere around the world, here for the mission, here for the directive. It's so exciting. So there's rebranding taking place, there's restructuring. Oh, use this as a call to help, actually. There is a there is a call out energetically for the words I got was the role of financial advisor. So looking for someone who's super skilled, like super skilled in sovereign law, common law, and setting up PMAs or private members associations to a mass umbrella for a movement that is being created, so we can work in the system but not be of the system. All right. If that is you and you know someone, please, that is here for mission and purpose, like that is the overall thing. That's the alignment piece. I love you. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in, and we will reconvene on YouTube at a later date. Mwah.